Hello, everybody, and welcome to Survivor with Jamie, Jack, and Colleen. But in this case, it is Jamie, Elena, and Colleen. My name is Colleen.
I'm Jamie.
I'm Elena.
Hello. Jack is off tonight because it is his wife, my mother-in-law's birthday. So they are doing birthday thingies. And Elena has graciously agreed to join us. Yay!
Hello again.
Hello again, my friend. How's it going, everybody?
Good.
I'm not awesome. My winner's pick just went home.
Oh, that's right. That's right. But also that's a good thing because you know that she wasn't going to win after a certain point. So you got a leg up on us. I'm just waiting for Maria to go out. I don't think Maria's going at this point. She made a move too early.
I don't know if Maria's going to go home at all until it's done filming.
Interesting. So you stand by my winner's pick then?
I kind of do, especially after tonight's episode. She's got people listening to her and kind of cushioned on either side. I don't know.
Yeah, but now she's got Kenzie whispering in people's ears. And, you know, Ben will pick Kenzie over Maria, I think, anytime.
We'll see.
I
would think so, but tonight Ben didn't tell Kenzie about
It's true.
Tiffany.
Oh, it's a great point.
So I don't know.
It's so tough. It's tough.
Ben is playing his own game.
This season has been it's been predictable yet unpredictable at the same time. And I guess my main question tonight, after all of that, is when is the last time we had a successful idol play where somebody actually saved themselves playing an idol?
Not when? This season.
No.
Well, no, but when?
I can barely remember yesterday, no less, last season, but it definitely seems like this season, especially the last several episodes, it's just been one after the other, right? Going home with idols in pockets and they just hold them and don't think it's them and feel super safe. So we see a totally different show than they are experiencing.
And you know what kills me is Jeff was literally telegraphing it to Tiffany tonight. Like at the point where Maria was going like this, like with her head in like her hands at one point, where he was like, but don't you think, guys, that Q is for a blind side?
I mean, if you had an idol, tonight would be a great night. Yeah. Do you think it's because of because it feels like we see this a lot more in the shorter seasons? Like maybe the players think that because there's less time, like there's only so many tribals, I can make it last. Whereas like the full 39 day, the idea of holding on to that for so long is like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like it's okay to play it now because I mean,
2 votes left to play
it.
I don't know. I feel like if I was anybody tonight, especially with Jeff pointedly being like, there is going to be a blind side, you dummies.
Yeah. Two.
Have you not learned?
Right?
Look over here.
Like all 3 of those people are over there sitting there because Q was going to go home. To do a little bit of defending on Tiffany, she was really, really adamant and getting across in her pre-interviews that she's incredibly lucky for no real reason. Things always
I'm a
go
betting
her way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, of course, we know when you say that in Survivor, like you've just signed and sealed your execution in the game. But to her, that is like normal. Like I feel like she really did feel confident. If her instincts say I'm good, I don't think she ever questions her instincts.
Yeah.
Everybody did a pretty good job at covering. I mean, like they were all solid. Jeff was the one trying to point it out to her, but everyone else did a pretty dang good job of being like, yeah, Q's going for sure.
Right. Which is also ironic because Tiffany was a whole part of that split the vote thing distract Hunter with the Q thing last week. That's what's even more frustrating about it. And I really like Tiffany, so I'm upset that she went. And I'm also surprised, honestly, I am surprised that Liz went with that plan, because her whole other thing
was
the last
too.
few episodes was crying over the fact that her plans weren't working, but she so quickly went with somebody else's plan, which was very surprising to me. I think that maybe her outburst, and we can talk about that in a minute, I think maybe her outburst may have kind of neutered her a little bit, like where she was like, oh my God, I need to do something to get back in these people's good graces, because I just
maybe.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
I don't know.
I think there might have been a little secret vendetta, because Tiffany was the one when they came back from the
I wondered about that too.
and she didn't even eat the hamburger. So maybe.
So Tiffany, she went from worrying that her idol put a target on her to clinging to the idol because she doesn't maybe feel as safe as she used to. So her reason for hanging on to it versus getting rid of it may have changed over the last few weeks. I don't know. That was one thought I had as to why she held on to it now versus, maybe 2 weeks ago. But the other thing I thought was funny is with Liz, I thought, number one, she wants to get Q out, but she also could smell Maria's big move. And I didn't know if she was going to try to block Maria from that play, because she did mention, like, I think she was trying to build her resume by playing Tiffany when she really, Liz really wanted Q out for her own reasons.
Right.
So.
Interesting.
I'm not entirely sure why Liz chose to do what she did. Maybe she felt like she would be safe in their good graces.
Didn't want to be left out of the majority.
And they were the people.
Yeah, but also one might argue that the majority was also going for Q. It was 4-4.
Yeah. Here's the thing, somebody on the island, and I think it's actually somebody's, I think it's a combination between Maria and Charlie, has made it very clear that Q is absolutely still in the line of fire, but like that, I feel like they may have sold it in a way where it's like everybody does want Q out, but that's like an obvious, so nobody needs to worry about it. Even if he makes it to the end, no one in jury is going to pick him because he kept saying he wanted to go home. Let's get the people that are here playing hard. Like, and that's the message that kept getting put out there. So eventually someone's going to have to realize that Charlie and Maria are the ones playing hard.
It sounded to me like Liz was starting to pick up on that, but she went along with Maria anyway. So,
which is why I think that perhaps she was erring on the side of getting back in good graces, but she was never in their good graces, because she was he and Q were the only one, and Hunter were the only ones left out of that vote earlier, although Hunter was still in the split the vote on Q part. So
yeah.
Because otherwise she would have voted for Ben, and then Q would have gone home, which was interesting enough, right? Or I'm sorry. Oh no, then Hunter would have gone home. Just kidding.
This group is really weird though, because we talked about it last week. It's like this group is not worried about loyalty getting them to the end. This group is not worried, like they're not focused on my number one. It's all about resume. Boom, boom, every week. It's I have to have a move. I have to have another move. It's about the moves.
Yeah.
And I think when you look at the last couple seasons of Survivor, the social game matters a little bit, but like some of the most likable people aren't even getting single votes. So even if they make it to the end. So maybe it is everyone's winning based off of the moves. It's like the only way to go now. You got to get out your number one, and that could be the only move you have, but that could win you the game.
But something that's also stupid, because how many time again have we seen the people that get to the end are the ones that have a solid twosome?
It's you know what? It is a tried and true method of getting
to be more likable. Be more likable, come across as more strategic than your partner, and you've got a better chance. What were you going to say, Elena? I'm sorry.
No, I mean, getting to the end versus getting votes, though, I feel like we see a lot of twosomes, threesomes getting to the end, but it's usually way swayed towards someone's, benefit, and who you would have thought might be like the popular vote or the maybe more deserving, more sympathetic, whatever, they may not get a single vote at all. Like it was Carolyn, right?
Yeah.
That was
she was so deserving of a vote.
Yeah. I mean, that was like
I
think we all saw that coming, and then it was surprising how few votes. It's just a different, it's a totally different game that we see in the edit versus what they experience out there. So I think it's becoming harder to project based on players versus us couch spectator, whatever.
I agree.
That's a good point.
Yeah, the dynamics, if you look at throughout the new season, is the shorter game leads to some things that could ultimately become interesting or beneficial to the game in some ways, but the things that it changes are dramatically different, right? It's not like little things. It's like, I think, how people play their idols, how people build alliances, how the tribes are split. Like it really is a whole different map you have to put together to get to, like, if they did take the big news everybody knows about this week is that they are going to do on the 50th. They're going to have return players. So
we should remind me to talk about that when we get to the second half of the show, because I would love to talk about that.
If you had if you had the old school players coming in for the new game, you would be watching two incredibly different games being played out per player. Like, it's just so different. And I'm not even going to dog on all of the differences. Some of it is good, but the things that always made sense for 40 seasons that we go, nope, this is how you do this. This makes sense. Like, now we're seeing these things and we're like, why are they doing it? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It goes back to what Elena's talking about. Like, the game is really different, but also we're not seeing the stuff that we used to see, and the game's not spread out.
I miss the 39 days. I'll be honest. I do.
I do too.
I miss the 60 minutes because I feel like there was a lot of stuff we saw in 90 minutes tonight that we would not have seen. Like, I think the whole Liz explosion and this dwelling on Applebee's and the freaking burger was an absolute result of not giving us 30 more minutes of,
So Tiffany and Liz really understood the assignment with Applebee's.
I don't think Applebee's knew what they were getting. Or maybe they did. Maybe they know, like, if that's on their application, that's like the key. Let's mention Outback and Applebee's.
Right? I would have preferred Outback.
I love a bloomin' onion. It's my favorite food.
See, and now I like the cheese.
I'm not allergic to.
I hate the I hate the product placement cringe of everything.
It's so cringe.
It's so uncomfortable for me. And I'll be honest,
it's only funny sometimes, like when Keith Nail and his son are doing it. But it's generally not. It's generally cringe. It's not even tongue-in-cheek funny anymore.
Yeah, it's like the opposite effect. I'm like, well, I know where I'm not gonna go eat. But I know, like, it's a mixed bag. Like, I'm already on the internet. It is like, it's halvesies, right? Like, some people are like, oh my God, Liz's reaction was entitlement and it was terrible. And then there's the other half, which is the side I'm on, which was all like, that was amazing television. Please let me watch the starving person lose her mind just for another second, because you know what? I'm sorry. It may not be graceful and it may not be appropriate, but I felt it like that. I would have been there. And then when they came back and like, we didn't even eat the burger, I'd have been like, I lost it.
Sure.
I totally judged her and related to her at the same time.
Exactly.
So I don't know what that says about me, but it was a bit like,
no, agreed though. because I was brought back to the Tiffany's moment in episode like 1 or 2, where she got mad and then like was like, no, I can't get mad. I can't play like that. Now this is completely different situation.
Right.
Between,
But
the trope that
spilled it
Tiffany
out.
was trying to avoid and Liz's like Karen trope that she was trying to avoid, but like totally different situations. But like, it just reminded me, like, you need to, I get it. And oh my God, I am playing Jack right now. And I am so sorry. But if Jack was here, he would say, when you're on Survivor, you need to check your emotions at the door.
Yep.
I
And then
guess
you get
when you're on
hungry and then you
Survivor,
can't.
prepare to starve, don't complain.
Yes,
Like I don't, and this is not a mystery at this point. I felt like it, number one, it was played out to fill time, to feed into the whole Applebee's,
It was a lot.
product placement. There were a million reasons why they milked it for every, ounce of burger fat they could drip
like
off that
Jeff,
garbage
like,
burger.
Like Jeff pausing, his long pauses between his 100% ground beef
Smothered in onions.
Oh my God, just get to it.
I mean, I think the fact that it's Applebee's makes it all the worse, right? Like, did you know? Honestly, I think, like, of my notes, 2 pages are just yuck.
Okay. You know why Liz was so upset that she didn't get Applebee's? It was part she wanted to feel close to her daughter, part she wanted to eat, and part she wanted that really greatly disgusting Applebee's poop that you get when you eat it. Because don't forget, she isn't poop since she got to the island.
She's been waiting and she's been waiting.
18 days.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that's a lot of time to not eat. But you know what? Here's the thing. Everybody can play the game however they want. I'm not even going to particularly judge Q on this, but I am going to say traditionally, when you get to pick multiple people to go to a food reward and there's somebody who hasn't eaten for X amount of days and everyone else has, it's just common courtesy that you invite that person along. So it was whatever, it is what it is that he decided not to. But then also the fact that the other people that were standing there next to her, who were very quick to all say, oh yeah, Q's a villain, none of them put their hand up and said, don't take me, take Liz.
I think Q's gameplay has been questionable since day one.
The beginning?
So I'm not sure we should have expected otherwise.
No, not really.
But I mean, I think if he was smart, he would have taken her because she voted for him and he had an opportunity. Instead, he just, threw it back in her face because that's the, world he's living in. And
he was trying to get the band back together.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's
and in the end ended up voting off another one of his 6 alliance members.
Yeah.
As Sherry, I was waiting for that too, for someone to say, don't take me, take Liz. I'm shocked that Kenzie or Maria, who is trying to play a similar like empathetic game, I'm surprised that neither of them was like, take Liz. Like, I would have thought of anybody, Kenzie would have been like, Liz is really hungry, take her instead. But I don't know.
Yeah, it just goes to show you though too, like how not loyal anybody seems to be in this game, except for Maria and Charlie. I really do believe that duo is.
Yeah, because when you get a duo, you take them to the end. You take them to the end, or you vote them out at Final Four.
Yeah, what the heck?
That's when you make your move on your biggest, tightest person.
I mean, even Kenzie, who threatened to cut her, her +1, never wouldn't follow through with it. So, I mean, they have some bonds there, and even though they realize that the gameplay and the big moves require them to make, maybe do that, they're just not. She totally backpedaled this week in doing that when she had the chance, and now she's on the wrong side.
Yeah, how do you think she's gonna who do you think she's going to try to mend with on all of this? Because this was a vote against her too. So
it was. I think she's gonna. I don't know if she's gonna go to Q, but I think she's gonna go to Ben. I think she's gonna rely on her relationship with Ben to possibly, if depending on who she wants to get out, possibly work that. She was
she might work with Venus.
Well, Venus was on the wrong side too, so they have some, common bond there. Do we talk about previews? We
could talk about previews.
Okay, because I think she made the comment about Maria being the villain in
yes, or somebody made the comment. Venus did, right? Like she went to be the villain.
Was it Venus or Kenzie? I thought
Venus,
it was Kenzie, but but it sounds like maybe that may be the dividing line for next week. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. It could be. I mean, at this point, I feel like if somebody's going to put you on the wrong side of the votes and vote your ally out, this is the right time because you still have time to whisper in people's ears and be like, hey, they're playing a good game. I know you're close with them, but we're getting down to the end here. This is, you might want to keep it. You might want to just keep an eye on it. You might just want to take them out while you have a chance because you never know.
So not to skip ahead, but if you look at who voted for Tiffany, who could flip back, Ben is in a good spot, right? Because he is aware of Maria being in the driver's seat for this vote. He has Kenzie and Venus on the other side, who were not included in that vote, easily flip and bring that, try to get them against Maria. And then who looks good about scheming a Maria vote after Maria's the one in charge this week? Ben takes her out and he gets his resume shot. Although again, I'm not paying super close attention this season rather, but Ben seems to talk strategy the least out of anyone left. So
I think he talks strategy quieter than everyone else because we do see him a part of conversations. But it's never the focal point of the edit, which leads me to believe that Ben is not winning.
Yeah, there's definitely something to be said about the possibility of the edit, but he could also be somebody who is he's making the right moves usually because he's just sitting and listening. He's not trying to dictate any conversation
yet, but maybe he's, if he's lucky, if he wants to win, he'll, change that from and make a play at some point. And this may be his point, right? If he can flip them against Maria, get Maria out, then maybe he has a chance.
Well, he doesn't like villains, so clearly
he likes Van Halen. We know that.
Van Halen
and Metallica.
What did he say tonight during the challenge? He was like, let's hope these buckets don't rock or something. It was a nursery rhyme.
He asked Jeff for a Van Halen lyric. And I mean, this is many episodes ago, but when he and Charlie went the Taylor Swift to Metallica song,
off, yeah.
I mean, as Jamie can attest, a fellow Duran Duran fan, at some point you just start making stuff up. I mean, who's fact-checking any of that? Did you guys talk about that? Because it's still on my mind. Like
the Metallica people would probably not give a shit not care as much, but the Swifties would know. And they would descend, and it would not be pretty.
Maybe
there's a code of honor among Swifties.
He was worried about, the Twitter or whatever, feedback.
It's real though.
I think this is a great idea to maybe make yourself stick in the lexicon a little bit, of Survivor, maybe to increase your odds of a return player, is if you were doing something like that, to just start naming off things that aren't accurate, like make up your own titles. But then make sure
would death threat you, so you do not want to mess with them.
But you have to make
sure Metallica heads or whatever.
I think you could.
They should have just started naming like Guns N' Roses songs, Duran Duran. Just like throw whatever in there.
A little more.
I think you could even like avoid the whiplash of the Swifties because here's the key.
You can't.
You have to admit to it. You have to admit
No.
to it in your confessional and be like, I was just totally making those titles up to mess with that person.
I think that is a fandom, and I am sorry out there. That is a fandom, though.
No wiggle room.
There is no wiggle room.
They will be waiting for you at the airport on your flight back from Fiji.
Yeah, they would just know. Like something would be pinged in them, and they would be like, "Oh, somebody made a joke about our fearless queen."
Sorry, I totally derailed the whole thing, but
no, that's okay. That's okay.
I'm catching up on a whole season's worth.
That's okay. That's okay. Okay, let's go back to the Liz thing, and let's ignore the fact that it probably could have been about 3 minutes to 10 minutes less. But I understood it. I felt for her, like Ben said. But at the other hand, Venus's face was also kind of like my face. I was just like, I get how you're feeling. But at the same time, I would have been like,
it's extra.
Jeff, I'm really mad right now. I'm upset. I'm having a hard time controlling my emotions. I'm just very hungry. I don't know if and again, I'm not there. I'm not that hungry. So I don't understand. I don't know. I have a 6-year-old who gets hangry very easily, and he would have reacted the exact same way. So I don't know what grown-up people do in that situation, but I know hanger's a thing.
It's too bad that is it Mars doesn't, Mars Candy Company doesn't, sponsor, because there's a perfect Snickers commercial with Liz.
Oh my God.
But then she'd be like, I'm sorry, I can't, I'm allergic.
I'm allergic to the peanuts in the Snickers, yes. And the caramel and the chocolate and the cocoa powder.
Anyway. Is there any chicken in there? Because also can't have chicken.
That's yeah, Tiffany. I'm lactose intolerant, but I ate it anyway.
Well, and Liz said too, when they were talking, Jeff was dragging every syllable of the Applebee's menu. She said, "Oh, I can't eat that, but I'll do it anyway." Liz was all prepared to drink a milkshake and do everything to wreck her body. That's her choice, right? But I guess instinctively, my first reaction was, this is not, you did not end up here. This isn't like the Hunger Games. You have been trying to get yourself onto this island, knowing what the food has been, what the opportunity to eat has been, what you're right. So to blame Q for that seemed a little bit, right. Not to mention being and you voted for me. So,
right. And you could tell that she got his point, because immediately she was just like, yeah, you're right. I'm done. I'm over it.
Yeah. And everybody has some emotional, anyone out there is out of their element. They're missing their dog, their mom, their daughter. Trust me, I sympathize, but it's also a choice. So you can't blame someone else for the choice you made and the consequences you're suffering. Given all those facts, it just seemed a bit, I don't know, obnoxious. And I wouldn't say entitled, but
it was definitely obnoxious. There's no way around it. No matter if you sympathize or not, it was obnoxious. I'm fairly certain her own daughter would go, "Oh my God, Mom, that was really obnoxious." However, I've been really hungry and hot and tired, and I was probably obnoxious in those times.
Oh, absolutely. That's the conflicting part of it, is in a way you're like, well, she totally signed up for this, and she knew she was going to be allergic to coconut. This isn't the first season. What's out there. One thing
is to say, though, is that her tribe mates, even the ones that were sitting there at Applebee's, in their they were like, that was really hard to watch. They weren't really making fun of her, but they were like, yeah, that was, I feel bad. Not bad enough to eat the hamburger, of course, but I feel bad.
Right.
And the ones that she stayed behind with, they were sympathetic. So sneaking suspicion, there's been a lot more leading up to this. I think if it had been anybody else, if it had been Tiffany that won, if it had been Kenzie or Charlie that won and didn't pick her, I think people would probably be a little bit less sympathetic for Liz's reaction. But since everybody was so fed up with Q anyway, it fit.
He was
their
an easy
narrative.
target, and it was easier maybe to blame him, even though he doesn't.
And he does not know how to show empathy, even pretend. So it doesn't help.
Again, he is not out there to make friends. I think he has totally sold us on that fact.
He literally compared this girl starving to death and getting upset about it as like being fired, being one of his employees that he was firing. He does not care. Not even a little.
Did you think that Liz was going to win that reward challenge at any point?
Yes, I did.
Based on the I thought like the edit was totally in her favor. She was behind, and
I really wanted her to win it.
There was like half. I guess maybe it was just the whole story with her daughter in the before they even started, but they really dwelled on her. The camera dwelled on her, and I was convinced.
I was kind of convinced too.
Yep.
And so.
Yeah, I was pretty bummed out. I'm not. Yeah, I was rooting for it.
If she had earned it, I would have been, all behind the whole, the whole story, the arc, whatever, to get her to that reward. I feel like that would. I mean, obviously, maybe production would have preferred that too. It would have been a good story, but this is maybe the best case, second best case scenario is like you get her absolute nemesis to win and deny her.
Who do you think she would have picked to go with her had she won it?
Kenzie?
Yeah, I don't know who else was with
anyone but Q. Anyone but Q. Who left? The other 6.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know who else.
A number. I'll any of you except for him. You guys pick a number.
Well, she doesn't. I mean, I'm trying to remember, like who is she close to?
She doesn't. She moves.
She doesn't have anyone. She was close to Hunter and Tevin,
and she hasn't gotten closer to anyone.
Not
that
we've
leaving
seen.
Until maybe next week. This divide with Venus might stir something up. They were both.
Who knows?
No, we'll see.
Yeah. What else happened tonight? Do we think that
Charlie got immunity? That was fun.
Charlie, again.
Because he's been working on his grip strength.
I know.
That's fascinating to me. I feel like I want to go do a grip strength test now.
I would fail it miserably, but it would be fun to see where we all were. Like what level, how strong is our grip?
That's why you practice.
It's gotta practice. You gotta get one of those the hand squeezy things or whatever.
Yeah,
the springs. Do you think you just walked around with those, like going like this for months before? You get like a close up, and his hands and his like forearm are just like super Popeye. I do. One of the things I really enjoy with Charlie is that when he's in a competition in something like this, where he's having to hold on and just find more strength to get through it, you see other players that like never flinch and then they win without even flinching. But he's so great because you see him struggle every time, and then you see him go, nope, I'm not letting go. I'm going to do this. Like that's a really fun storytelling just to watch it happen, because it's like he's not an underdog at all in this game, which is hilarious considering where we thought he was coming in.
I know, we thought he was going to be the first vote out.
But watching him compete, he's so good at these competitions, and to see him every time where he almost fails and then somehow pulls through it. It's great drama. Like, and the slow-mo loves him. So,
well, do you guys think that Charlie is so protected in his alliances that he will not go home the first time he doesn't win immunity, or you think that somebody will try to take their shot the second he does not win immunity, like Hunter?
I just feel like he has the least threatening energy of anyone there. It's like,
right,
even though he is winning, he doesn't seem imposing like Tiffany was or Q. I mean, they can make an or Maria, they can make an argument, even though she was like, what, second, third out.
Yeah, well, even
like
Hunter, Hunter made the mistake of not winning, but like seeing that he could continue to hang on after winning.
Right.
Maybe Charlie's like,
I think that was, I don't think that was as big of a deal as people made it out to be.
No, maybe not all in all, but when you have a player that's like, when you have a player that doesn't flinch, is winning without flinching, that's okay. That's the threat, right? Now we have to go after the threat. But there's always somebody right under that person who's almost like equally matched in challenges, but flinches. They're gonna get seen eventually. Charlie is going to get seen. The only person physically that he has in front of him at this point is Q, and Q is like what, 40-60 in these comps. So
yeah,
he's great at winning Applebee's, but he's not winning immunities,
Yeah, he hasn't been working on his grip.
He hasn't.
Yeah. Okay, guys, this is really making my mind go to dirty places.
Oh. Yay.
No, seriously, because when I was in like middle school, that used to be the thing, right? Like people that did certain activities had forearms that were more muscular
and hairy palms, right?
Yeah.
Well, the girls had the bigger forearms. I guess the boys had the hairy palms. That was thing that went around. Sorry.
Who knows what it was that he did to get this grip, but
he said pull up.
He did it a lot.
Or hangs, whatever. Dead hang. I don't know, maybe that's a euphemism. I'm old. I don't know. I'm not a Swiftie.
Maybe it's a Swiftie title. I don't know. Oh, I don't know. I think Charlie's been able to kind of like camouflage himself in the old Gabler, position in this. But I am still fairly certain that Venus has him clocked. So I mean, she's brought his name up before, she's mentioned Charlie before. So,
well, Jack was right. Jack said that Venus was all over it.
Yeah.
Did you guys notice? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm just saying she's definitely more in your face just because of her personality, but she has been playing this like accidental under the radar game. I don't think it's not intentionally under the radar. It's just that nobody's giving her any leverage, but she's playing a good game. I don't when they're I mean, she's not playing a great social game. And when
nobody really is though.
Yeah.
I don't know that
that's
anybody really is.
Everyone thinks Kenzie's like their number one except for Charlie and Maria, but like, yeah.
But see, tonight's episode was a great reminder of a few things. One, if you listen to some of the exit interviews, some of the stuff that's said about Venus, like no one's actually giving a reason of why they're hateful about Venus. They're just hateful about her in the exit interviews.
Okay.
But they just don't like
her. We see that she rubs people the wrong way. We see that
they're not saying she did X.
Well, because CBS has probably been like, hey guys, don't go up there and say that Venus is a bitch. So they're all trying to talk around it because that's what they all want to say. Like, but everybody on screen has basically been like, yeah, we think Venus is a complete asshole and we don't want to work with her.
Right. But again, in the same token, you see tonight's episode that you saw this huge blow up of like terrible show of personality. And then on the flip side of that, the cool kids came back from their meal and immediately were like, oh, we didn't even finish the food. Nobody's nice. No one's nice there. Like,
no.
I think Ben is. I think Ben's genuinely nice, but I don't know about the rest of them.
Right. I did find like Kelly's like, and I'm sorry I keep harping on Kenzie, but like she was just like, yeah, I feel bad that I'm not eating this because Liz was like, so whatever. But like everybody else was like, I'm going to talk about how full I am.
Right.
I was like,
Yep.
Speaking about to go back real quick to Liz's meltdown scene, did you guys love the casting call that Jeff put out that was clearly filmed immediately following that scene?
I did. That was like maybe one of my favorite things. Is like, well, it sucks out here. Come on. And then after what 20 minutes later is like, here's your little jar of rice, Liz. Like, here's the
production
so we don't look like assholes for making you starve.
Right. Exactly, because that someone in production or Jeff even was like, "You guys, we got to feed her because this is going to be
wait. There's
I do
production question mark. Yeah. That was
at least everybody there read the room, because you know that if everybody there read the room and was like, you can have it, Liz. But because you know that if it was like Venus or Q, everyone would be like, no, we want to step out too. You can't have it.
Right.
Well,
I don't know her.
I think she what she didn't do during the challenge or the reward challenge, step back and let Liz have it or insist that Liz go in her place. She gave her the consolation rice. So
I would have preferred the burger, but like, thanks, dude.
Yeah. How's the rice?
I do like that she took the jar and then cradled it. My baby.
Yeah. She better at this point. Like that every grain, I'm surprised she wasn't like sucking on each individual hard piece of rice at that point.
Yeah.
But
yeah. You know what? I know that it's really easy to say, well, you had allergies, you shouldn't play the game. But she thought she could do it. That's the thing. She thought she could do it. She's probably had to go without lots of times because she's allergic to practically everything. She thought she could do it.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I walk myself into situations all the time where I'm like, I signed up for this and now I'm overwhelmed.
And now I'm gonna,
but I still ran. I mean, I might still have a little bit of a meltdown. Try not to blame other people for it, knowing full well that I walked myself into it. But I mean, it happens. And that was the hard part of watching it was, girl, you're on a TV show.
Yep.
You are not, in a labor camp or, in prison somewhere. This isn't something against your will. Yes. But at the same time, anger. That's why I'll never go on the show. I mean, I wouldn't make it. Not one. I love it. I've been watching it for a long time. I, stand behind it. But it's not for me. I could not go with, I would be the worst person to deal with on day 2.
Listen,
without one night's sleep.
Every single episode I write down, blank cried. Every time. But you want to know what would happen to me in the first 12 hours of being uncomfortable? I'd have been like, why did I do this? So,
I miss my daughter. I miss this. I miss my bed, my pillow,
I'm
my
hungry.
dog.
These people are mean.
Yeah, I get it. I do. And that's what makes it fun and why we watch, right? Because there's something you can relate to and there's something to be mad about all at the same time.
And you know what? I'm not going to mention any names, especially not last names that rhyme with "ot," but there's been lots of talk about how I hate this whole kumbaya thing every single season. It's just this kumbaya. Let's talk about our feelings. You know what? Here's the thing. No one's really been kumbaya this whole season. Everyone's a mess.
Yeah.
Everyone is all like, I don't care. I'm not going to be loyal. I need to make a move. Like this. Hey, you know what? This is kind of more what you wanted. So yeah, you can roll your eyes and think that she's making a fool of herself right now, but then also enjoy that because it's not you making a fool of yourself on television. It's entertainment.
I had to fast for a certain amount of time recently and I was miserable because it sucks not to eat when you're used to just putting food in your face every single time. And while sometimes you're just like, you're not going to starve. Like the minute you say, okay, I'm going to like go and I have to go 12 hours without, you're the most starving, miserable person you've ever been in your life.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have to relate to that to a certain extent. We put ourselves in those situations all the time. And, it's not hard. It's not a long stretch to imagine yourself sleep and food deprived. And it's gotten worse, I think, in the more recent seasons, right? They don't get their rice. They don't get
right.
Yeah,
a little bit more generous with rewards and whatnot. It seems like they are towing the line. Maybe that's why production intervened with a little jar of rice for
I
Liz.
recently heard that the nutritionists that work with the show said that 16 days is the limit they'll allow somebody go without their proper amount of calories.
Yeah.
So that's why the rice bag deal comes in at 16 days.
Interesting.
Because that's the limit, because they really don't get much for protein if they don't win it.
Right. The immunity. Yeah.
Nobody gets like chickens on the ship reward anymore. Like no one gets
running around on the beach.
Chicken overboard.
Ty really ruined that for everybody, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Bless
Animals.
that man.
Yeah.
Just bless that man.
They were hungry.
He's gonna save that chicken.
Anyway.
It was adorable. And the best part is that Caleb helped him save that chicken. Of all people in the world, I'm going to die for salt and pepper. Help save the chicken.
Fair enough. Okay. Any last thoughts before we move into feedback and tally the votes? Do we think that Tiffany was the right play here over Q? Chaos Q, as I now call him.
I think he's like such a goat right now, right? I mean, he's never, ever, ever, ever gonna win. So, I mean, why burn him now? I can't even with this jury and what they've seen expect that it could ever turn towards him.
Right. And I would say it's probably the right move to take out Tiffany as much as I liked her. Just she's not expecting it now. She's gonna play her idol at 6 or 5. Yeah. So
this is your opportunity. Was it right for their game? Yes. Was it right for my game? Absolutely.
Little did they know, Jamie.
Yes. Okay. Well, let's take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we've got an email from Mandy, and we'll do tally the votes. Here we go. Okay, we are back. We have an email from Mandy.
We didn't even eat the burger.
No. Who's going to do it?
Mandy.
There you go. Mandy says, wow, Liz is screaming, I'm pissed. Tops Debbie's, I'm pissed. I don't think so. I disagree. I still think that Debbie's I'm pissed was more unhinged.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as an entire personality.
Yes. Yes. Although Liz did tweet that she was getting a lot of it, like, hate DMs, like the Swifties must have been onto her or something. But
it feels like they've all taken their turn this season of who's getting the most hate. Like a couple of weeks ago, it was Venus. She had to leave Twitter. She was being very vocal about how terrible everyone was being. And before
to be
that,
fair, I think that
Soda.
CBS made Venus leave Twitter because I think Venus is,
well,
a lot of former contestants were like, hey, how come no fair? Why does she get to tweet about it? And we couldn't.
Yeah. Chatting, saying a little too much.
Yeah. Okay. Mandy continues. I think Colleen would agree the best thing they ate was the mozzarella sticks. Always 100% hands down. No question. I would have traded my wings and chips and dips for everyone's mozzarella sticks. Agreed. Yeah. Q has to be a 0 vote finalist at this point. No one is going to waste a week voting him out, which is exactly what you guys just said. So there we go.
Yep. Mandy, my girl.
Mandy. Do we see Q potentially losing at Fire? Like maybe if it's like Charlie and Maria and they take each other and then they make the other two fight it out.
I don't know, but you just really bummed me out, reminding me of this whole stupid fire thing still
I
happening.
know. I'm so over fire. I do hope that whatever happens with 50, we have a new era of no more fire challenge and no more mergatory and no more 3 tribes. Let's have some good seasons with some 2 tribes.
Yeah, let's make a tribe swap. Let's do a tribe swap. That's
Yes,
fun.
go ahead. Yes.
I know it's a little contradictory to what we said about Q being a goat, but I feel like there's enough loyalty amongst the remaining group to not take him all the way to fire. I think they're just gonna discard him at some point. It wasn't tonight because obviously Tiffany was a big enough threat, but I feel like there's gonna be some, tightness of a group, if it's Ben and Kenzie and Maria and Charlie, or I don't know how that's going to flesh out, but I feel like they're going to start discarding Q before he gets to fire.
I could see them cutting him at 5.
Yeah.
Okay, now let us play our game.
It's easy, right? But it's also, you have to be strategic about it. And I think like that tonight was like, well, we could take the easy route and just do it, get it over with. Or we do the smart thing, and they've done that for now 3 weeks in a row. So
right, but how long do they let it get before he does become a Debbie X Factor? I say this every week, and Jack disagrees with me, but like he is chaos. He and Venus are chaos, but Venus is continually
win. I mean, I don't think he'll win. So
here's the thing,
what if he blows up your game on the way out?
Yeah,
that's just it. And depending on who he's sitting next to at the end, I mean, I don't know. It's a rough one. But if it continues the way it's been continuing, he can point at jury and say, "I was supposed to be sitting there. I was supposed to be sitting there.
Right.
I was supposed to be sitting there." Down the line.
Does that work? You get a vote? Like, you should be here and I should be there.
Yeah, each week I still stayed because as much as we can give him grief for his chaos and his seemingly no actual organized gameplay, he did something today with not taking Liz that actually was incredibly beneficial to him by taking Maria, because she kind of reached out to him a little bit to check on him, and he backed that up,
Right. He acknowledged it.
Not to say she wouldn't have still gone the way she was going to go with the whole thing. But it certainly did not hurt his position with her. It only helped. So maybe
I think it wasn't a pro Q thing. It was an anti-Tiffany thing.
Thing.
So but he might read it totally different. So,
Yeah.
Do we want to talk real fast about this 50?
Yes. Oh my God.
I know nothing about this. So enlighten me.
So essentially Jeff announced with over a year to go before they leave to film. So it's 13 months of pre-gaming for these survivors. They said that returning players, it's open to players of all eras. So 49 and earlier. And Survivor Twitter blew up. Everybody's outwardly pre-gaming.
But did he say all eras? Because I know on, I don't know, 43 or 44 on the Jeff
He did
show.
say that he was never going to have, he said that he was never going to have pre 41 again, but he gave an interview, I think it was to Dalton Ross, following up with his comments about 50 being all returning players, and he said that it would be open to old school players too.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Pre-41 he said he would never have anyone prior.
He had originally said that, but then he took it back.
Okay.
Because I think he realized that this new era isn't as well liked as people.
Possibility.
There's a lot going on. I mean,
no one remembers anyone for the last 10 years. So
yeah, I'm really, there's a handful of people that I'd really like to see play again, like
Shan.
Ricard and Shan, Jesse would be fantastic.
Definitely.
But Jesse's also pre-gaming. He and Carla are pre-gaming hard on Twitter too. But Carla has gotten a lot of hate. A a lot of people do not want to see her back, which is interesting. And I feel like maybe it's not a lot of people, just a certain group of people who don't like women.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who else would I like to see? We need Emily Flippin, financial analyst. I can't say that word.
I think she has said, but it doesn't mean that, minds can't be changed. But she has said she never wanted to return again. Like she never wanted to do it again.
But I would love to see her come back.
Yes. Yes.
Who else?
I would like to see Owen Knight play again, because Owen always was right at the cusp of having a great game. He could just never break through that barrier.
Yeah.
I would like to see that.
I would like to see High come back.
Oh, yeah. That would be amazing. Yeah.
Was that 42? Marianne season?
Yep.
Who else? Tiffany Seeley.
Yep.
She would be good.
Yeah. Is there anybody from this season that you think would be?
I feel like you're naming Taylor Swift songs that I just don't know. I mean, I've been watching all of these seasons.
I know. Anybody from this
but
season?
You may be making up names at this point.
Just making up names.
I don't know who from this season. I feel like they might maybe invite Tevin back because he was good TV.
Yeah, for sure. It's not Banu, like.
Yeah, I don't think Banu's coming back.
Not even against Banu, but just like people would rage. Like it just.
But I'm also not. I'm holding out hope though for that. The first player voted out season. Like, let's go.
I know.
Show me somebody going from last place to first place. To second to third.
I'm gonna get Zach in there. Oh, that'd be so great. If Zach made it in there and then we could follow Marianne's tweets about Zach playing, would just be like the best life.
That would be pretty awesome. Who else? Albert, Sophie's 0 vote finalist with Coach. He had a good idea too, that he said have all the runners up because they were all just shy of winning, and they would play really, really hard to prove that they could do it.
Yep. So that would mean like Carolyn could come back.
Carolyn.
I wonder if she would. I don't know.
She has a lot going on.
She has a lot going on.
Fine.
Carolyn has a lot going on. She may or may not have control of her Twitter account. It's all very confusing.
Somebody may have broken in and controlled it.
I don't know, but I would like to see more of the engaging pre-merge players too. Like, I would love to see because some of them, like JD, we love JD. That kid deserved a chance, and he's like 4 years older now. So
yeah, he might come into his own now. He could play the game a little bit less like, you can't wear your heart in your sleeve. Like, you can't show your fandom so brightly in this game. It just people are like, get this kid out of here. This kid's nerding out all over me. Get him out.
Those are just some of my thoughts about 50. I'm excited. I am looking forward to it. I also am not unconvinced that it won't be some kind of like second chances vote.
Yep. Yeah.
Because it's 13 months is a long time to hype it up, right? You're hyping that for a reason, correct? Other than the fact that people are like, man, this sucks. Oh, Sherry says Cochran.
Yeah, I would love if Cochran came back.
But he won though.
But he's managed. He's played twice. I don't know. Like with the exception of like, I mean, not everybody can be Rob and Sandra where they play 54 seasons of Survivor, including international. But I would love if we had returning players, from the older era. Like, but I mean, somebody like Wentworth would be really awesome to see again, or another big name that's not Sandra or Rob.
Right.
I don't know
if I'd want. I like Kelly Wentworth, but I feel like we've seen enough of her. I don't know. She played 3 times.
That's true. She did do 3 times.
Okay. As far as Tiffany goes, Jamie had her final 3. Jack had her merge. I had her pre-merge, which means Jack gets a point here, putting him in the lead.
Gosh, he's just going
continuing his lead.
Do I get the glory?
You
on
get
his behalf?
Yes, and you get to pick who's going out for him this week.
So,
pick wrong. We need to catch up. As far as going home, Jamie and I had Q, Jack had Liz. Nobody gets points there. We are doing terrible this year in the Tally the Votes.
So I'm going to screw them up some more. I'm going to say Maria.
Oh, I feel like you might be onto something there, though. I think that
I might
think
be
Maria
reading the preview edit a little bit too much, but
I think Maria's days may be numbered if she doesn't win because she now has the target as being the orchestrator of a blindside.
That was kind of my thinking. So,
Jamie Joe,
and I have nothing to lose. Sorry, Jack.
That's okay. You know, to be fair, Jack is ahead by a lot, so
it's true. He's got a tight lead.
That's what she said.
I'm gonna go with Charlie.
Oh, I'm trying to think of a Taylor Swift song, but to do a pun, and I can't. I don't know. I do, and I can't think of one. Shoot.
Oh, rats.
Okay, then. Like, part of me thinks it might be Maria's time, but part of me thinks it may not be. Like, all right, I'll go Maria. I guess. I don't know. Who's left? Maria, Q, Charlie, Liz, Kenzie, and Ben, and Venus. When does Venus go? Like, are we thinking Venus goes final 3? Because according to the whole conspiracy theory about the... What was that? The conspiracy theory about the flags? It was Charlie.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
What was it? It was Charlie. Yeah, Charlie, Kenzie, and who was the third person that we
thought it was Q. We thought maybe it was Q, didn't we?
I can't remember.
Hold on, I'm getting the flag right now. I gotta look at it again.
I can't remember. But in the whatever. Okay, I am gonna go with. Oh, Jamie, you get to do a new winners pick too. You know what? Go ahead.
I'm gonna pick Kenzie.
You're gonna pick Kenzie as your new winners pick. Okay. Yep. So then you will get 10 points, correct?
Sure. I don't know. I don't do the math in this place. I'm the worst.
Well, you know what? Today we're gonna say that it's 10 points, and if it's not, then congrats.
Oh, no, we thought it was Hunter. We thought Hunter was the other silhouette member.
Oh, okay. But it wasn't. So, okay, I'm going to go Maria because I do feel like the target, the Eye of Sauron may be back on her.
And that's why I picked Charlie. I think maybe the attention at her might deflect over to her number
The
one.
Second Charlie doesn't win immunity, I think he's going to
Well, and maybe... hey, maybe she wins immunity and he doesn't, and that makes him vulnerable and open for votes. So they could be seen as a pair, and that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
There you go. Okay.
We're splitting the votes.
We're splitting the
votes. Look, we're already playing a great game.
Exactly.
Or
better
should
getting the most of current contestants.
Should I go Q? Is it finally Q's week? Like, is this like with a Banu situation?
That's a dice roll. You can.
I have had my question mark in front of Q. My question mark is the go home symbol. And I've had that question mark in front of Q for the last 3 weeks, and I scratched it out. So if he goes home this week, I'm going to be so mad.
And Colleen, that could be your strategy.
You could rake in the point. You'd be stealing the burger from me.
All right, I'll do Q, I guess, again, but I feel like, okay, guys, I have had Q 1, 2, 3, 4.
See?
4 other times.
See?
That's the popular vote, but doesn't mean that's who gets to wear the crown.
Well, we'll find out next week. Thank you so much for joining us, Elena. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We haven't really done any Survivor live watch parties this year. Has there been this season?
I have not been to a single one. I'm watching by myself quietly.
Me too. Well, I'm watching with my children. Today, Alex got mad.
Like all alone. I don't even have a kid to.
Well, that's good because you could probably hear a lot more than I can.
Yeah,
today,
but I'm not paying a bit of attention. So
Alex got really mad because we turned off they only got 10 minutes of SpongeBob. And I was like, you guys can watch it for 10 minutes until Survivor comes on while I am like, cleaning up after dinner, even though we need dinner before, like, getting ready. I was like, you guys can do that for 10 minutes. So I turn it off and he gets really pissed. So at the full speed, he does this RC car for the first 15 minutes of the episode. So I've got it blaring. I have to like readjust my thinking to be like, okay, listen for hearing this obscenely loud television that all your neighbors probably know what you're watching now. And I don't even live close to people too, but I just knew they heard it. So anyway.
Well, I know the
once he got that out of his system, much like Liz, it was quiet and peaceful and smooth watching.
Had to get it out. So the finale is going to be like 2 days after the Raleigh weekend is done.
Yes.
Which I'm so bummed out about because had I known earlier, I may have adjusted my schedule slightly, but it is what it is.
You mean you would have stayed later or you would have not come? I'm confused.
Nope, I would have stayed later.
Oh, okay. Well, Shandy's going to be here and Elena's going to be here. So maybe we do a 4-person.
I'm already here.
You are
right here.
Technically Shandy sort of is too. So maybe we do a girls 4-person bonus show.
Oh, prediction show.
Yep. I'll figure out how to get more than one microphone and we'll do it. I've got like 2 whole weeks to figure that out. Okay, cool. Stay tuned for that, everyone. Thanks again, Elena. Thank you to the patrons, especially the ones that contribute to a certain level. And that would be Eckhart Rickner, Maggie the Magnificent, Joanne with the Plan, and the Creepy Poopy Head Mailman. Thank you guys so much. If you'd like to be a patron, patreon.com/Jay and Jack. Stay tuned for the broadcast, Rumblecast After Dark, and The Amazing Race with Jack and Cindy, all which will have new episodes this week. Woo!
Happy birthday, Cindy.
Happy birthday, Cindy. She'll never hear this, but we're sending it out there anyway.
We put it out there
soon. I'll tell you happy birthday.
We'll be back next week. And if you want any feedback, we love feedback. Send us the email, SurvivorJJC@gmail.com. Okay, on that note, my name is Colleen.
I'm Jamie.
I'm Elena.
Bye. Peace out, everybody.
Bye. See you soon.